Good morning. In this video, we're talking about one of the most important things to focus on when you are on a spiritual path. Now, in order to tell you about one of the most important things, I'm going to tell you a little story. I have unfortunately talked with several people who have made choices that seemed like small justifications. Maybe they felt like they were actually giving and taking in their relationships. And it's important to be flexible, but at the same time, you want to make sure that you know who you are. And that's because people wind up making choices for a job or in a relationship or maybe for their career. And they're choices that sometimes really put them in a position where they're kind of getting smaller. So, for example, I have a family member who got married, and being Christian, this family member really wanted to make the relationship work. And so he wound up really allowing his wife to do things like shop beyond their financial, really, budget should have allowed. And over 10 years, it got so bad that their financial advisor was like, you're headed for bankruptcy. The, the way you guys spend money has to change. In another example, another friend of mine was in a marriage and he wanted to retire, but he saw no way out. And his wife liked to travel, liked to go out and, have money to spend. And it's not that she spent more than they had, it's more like she wanted to spend, within reason. But if you retire, a part of the problem is your income really, of course, goes down. So those are examples where the person wound up feeling stuck and getting into a bad situation because they really compensated and didn't really necessarily speak up for themselves. And so one of the most important things on a spiritual path is to really know yourself. In other words, sometimes you may be being stubborn, and sometimes you really do need to do some giving and taking kind of thing. In other words, the law of attraction is never going to help you manifest your dreams. You're never going to feel like you're really in a good flow when you are completely inflexible. If you walk around saying, I know myself and I know I deserve this and this and this, and I'm not changing for anyone, I'm not changing anything. It's not about that. It's not about being inflexible, but it's really important to understand who you fundamentally are and what's really important to you. It's about being able to really connect with the best version of yourself, to know that there is a best version of yourself. And even if you can't find it, touch it, feel it, experience it, and live it right here, right now, a lot of the times, just knowing that there's a better version of you and knowing that you're working in that direction is what's most important. So, in those examples of the relationships, both of the people I know, they could have really worked towards expressing themselves more and saying that it was really important for them to change the lifestyle. The first example, he should have said to his wife, I really need you to talk to me, and we need to talk about what's important in our relationship, what's important to me, because that's who you are, and try to make changes that work for both of us. Talk about what's important to you, talk about who you are, and go in directions that's important to both of us. Because, of course, spending all your money and being broke is not what anyone is. It's not the direction you want to go in. And in the second example, the person could have said, I want to be able to retire and I want to be able to talk about, if we really love each other, we should be able to have a life where we do some other things, retired things together. We shouldn't have to be continuously traveling the world to be happy. That's not where happiness comes from. So, what's interesting is that because people don't know themselves and really be true to themselves and stick to themselves, one of the things that happens is it can in these two examples, end the marriages, and then you have four people that are unhappy and four people that are in a worse situation. So really focus on connecting with who you are. Focus on connecting with the biggest, brightest version of yourself. The version of yourself where you feel like you're doing your best, where you feel like your dreams are coming true, and start to let that be a version of yourself that has a little life. Because as you focus on that more and more, and as you connect with it more and more, you're going to shift your experience, you're going to shift who you are, and you're going to bring yourself more power. Thanks for joining me in the Flowing Zone.